Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, founder of The Hanger Project, and here at The Hanger Project, we love helping the well-dressed take care of their wardrobes. In today's video, I'm going to be performing the first polish of my new Dimitri Gomez bespoke shoes. Dimitri Gomez is a very special shoemaker in that he's one of the few out there operating at his level that are doing the entire process himself, from taking your measurements to creating the last, to doing the pattern making, to stretching the uppers over the shoe and making the shoe itself. A pair of Dimitri Gomez shoes only touches one artisan's hands, and those are the hands of Dimitri Gomez. So I was very excited to add a pair of these to my collection. It was an absolutely joy to work with him, and you can view several videos about that process on our YouTube channel. Because Dimitri Gomez is just a one-man shop, he's not spending the amount of time in finishing or polishing the shoes before delivery like what you would find at a Cleverly or a Lob. The reason is because it's just not the highest and best use of his time. So these Dimitri Gomez shoes, I'm gonna be polishing for the first time, and I'm gonna be going through the polishing routine that we really recommend for a new pair of shoes, which is actually building up the foundation of a good polish with the proper conditioning with the Saphir Renovateur, then using the black cream polish, and then finally I'm gonna be using the Saphir Mirror Gloss and the Saphir Pate Luxe to build the high shine on the toes and the heels. Since this is the first polish, I'm actually going to go to the trouble to remove the shoelaces from these shoes. Now, removing the shoelaces is really, in all honesty, completely optional. Depending on the way the shoes are made, removing the laces can actually be quite a bit of trouble. And generally, whenever I'm shining my shoes, I prefer not to remove the laces because I feel that it just puts undue stress on the eyelets and the upper vamp of the shoe. So, unless it's just a really thorough shine, like the presidential shoe shine, or you really need to get in here for some reason, I normally don't hassle with removing the laces. But for these shoes, because again, this is the first shine and I want to do it as thoroughly as possible, I'm gonna go ahead and remove these laces. So I'm just gonna gently lead these shoelaces back through the holes. Again, you wanna be gentle in doing that because you don't wanna put any type of unnecessary stress on these eyelets. So, don't rip them out. Try to be as careful as possible to lead this back through the holes. There we go. Now you can see Dimitri is actually using an unwaxed cotton shoelace. You see these a lot from John Lobb, St. James. I believe Crockett & Jones is probably supplying these to Dimitri. We have unwaxed cotton laces, sovereign grade laces available on hangerproject.com. So now that the shoelaces are removed, I'm just gonna gently buff these shoes using a horsehair shoe shine brush, just to clean any type of dirt or any dust that's accumulated on the surface. So just a gentle buffing. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the Saphir Pommadier Renovateur. This is a mink oil based conditioner. It also provides gentle cleaning. It's water based, it doesn't have any solvents, and it's a fantastic conditioner. I really call it liquid gold. If you could have just one product, the Saphir Renovateur would be the single best product you could buy to take care of your shoes because it is so versatile. It's gonna clean, it's gonna condition, it has waxes in here, so it's gonna provide that protective wax barrier and help you elevate the shine to a nice soft shine. It's not gonna give you high gloss like a wax will, like a wax polish, but it will give you a nice soft shine. And the other thing I love about the Saphir Renovateur is you can use it on calfskin, you can use it on cordovan, you can use it on alligator, crocodile, lizard. It is an absolutely incredible, versatile product, and it's one product that I feel like everyone who really cares about looking after their shoes should have in their shoe shine box. So I'm gonna apply the Saphir Renovateur using a cotton chamois. Again, less is more, so I'm gonna make sure I kind of get this spread out. And I'm just gonna massage this into the leather using circular motions and moderate pressure. Okay, while that right shoe dries, I'm going to apply the Renovateur to the left and using small circular motions, medium pressure, really trying to get this into the leather. So I've allowed the Renovateur to dry, and so now I'm gonna buff it off using a horsehair brush. So you can see just after one coat of the Saphir Renovateur, we've got a really nice shine that's beginning to develop. I mean, that's the beauty of the Saphir Renovateur. It's just an absolutely fantastic product. You know, it's great for that kind of general, regular maintenance. It's gonna condition the leather, it's gonna feed it, it's gonna keep it soft and supple. It doesn't have any pigment in it, so it's not gonna fix any type of scuffing or scratching. But it does have waxes, so it'll kind of renew and elevate that shine. And as with all the Saphir Médaille d'Or products, it's such a high quality combination of waxes that's included in this Renovateur that even after wearing the shoe for a few days, all you need to do is just rebuff it with the horsehair brush. Those waxes persist and they re-shine very easily. Okay, so we've applied the Saphir Renovateur, and next I'm going to move on to a pigmented cream polish. So here, because they're black, I'm going to use the Saphir Pommadier cream polish in black. Now, the benefit of a pigmented cream polish, again, really is the addition of pigment. So it's going to help, you know, just even out and renew or rejuvenate the finish of the leather itself. These are new shoes, so does it really need pigment? Questionable, but I'm gonna add it anyway just for the sake of being thorough. I'm going to apply this with my cotton chamois. And again, less is more. So one of the things that I like to do is just kind of dab it around to just ensure that I'm not getting too much in any one area. And then just apply it, you know, using small circular motions, medium pressure. You really want to work this into the leather. And because this is a semi-brogue, which a full brogued shoe would essentially be a wingtip, this is a semi-brogue, it's a cap toe, Oxford, semi-brogue. The broguing are all these kind of small holes you have cut into the pattern, which is decorative. It actually creates a less formal shoe. The more holes you put in it, the less formal the shoe becomes. Still an appropriate kind of daytime formal dress shoe, but a cap toe Oxford with no broguing, just stitching would be more formal than this. If you have any type of if you can see any whiteness through here, you could use a dauber. It would help you get the polish into those holes even better. It just really depends how the shoemaker makes the shoe, whether or not these holes, you can see any kind of just neutral leather behind it. And so with all polishes, I'm gonna set this aside and let that dry while I work on the other shoe. Now, one of the things I really love about these Dimitri Gomez shoes is this just beautiful, elegant, kind of almond-shaped toe. You know, in my unboxing video, even actually in the first fitting video that we have posted on the YouTube channel, you can really see kind of the process that we went through to really develop this toe shape. I mean, one of the things that's unique about Dimitri, again, is, you know, he doesn't have a really highly established kind of firm, you know, style. It's not like, you know, Cleverly, where, you know, they are absolutely iconically known for their square toe. You know, Dimitri, you know, will absolutely modify the shape of the toe based off of whatever your personal preferences are, because he's not really, you know, married or, you know, kind of rigidly committed to a house style. Really craft this shape. And so, again, it's just one of those bespoke details that will continue to make these shoes special for me. So I'm gonna set that shoe aside, allow that to dry. This should be dry right here. So again, I'm gonna buff this off using a horsehair shoe shine brush. So again, beautiful shine really beginning to develop here. Again, the purpose of a cream polish is, one, you're able to add the pigment. Two, you're going to further feed and condition the leather because of, you know, the different oils and waxes that are in this polish. And then lastly, the soft waxes in a cream polish are gonna provide you this nice kind of soft shine. And so this is where, you know, personal preference really kind of comes into play. You know, how shiny or how many coats of polish and whether or not you use a traditional wax polish Whether or not you do any of that really depends on your personal preference of what type of shine you're looking for your shoes. You know, for a lot of gentlemen, a nice soft shine, even across the toe cap, would be enough. I personally, especially with my black dress shoes, prefer more of a gloss on the toe and the hind counters, and so that's why after applying the cream polish, I'm going to begin applying the wax polish to elevate that shine. After one coat of the Saphir Pommadier cream polish, you can again continue to see the shine of these shoes elevate. That's because we're really building that wax finish on top of the first coat of waxes we applied with the Saphir Renovateur. Now that I've applied the Pommadier cream polish, I'm going to move on to building that higher gloss finish on the toes and the hind quarters using the Saphir Médaille d'Or wax polishes. Now, a new product that Saphir just put out is the Saphir Mirror Gloss. We were actually instrumental behind having them develop this. The Saphir Mirror Gloss has a very high concentration of hard waxes, much higher concentration than in the Pate Luxe. And what that does is it just allows you to build that foundation of wax polishes faster and in fewer coats than with the Pate Luxe in order to develop that high shine. So I like to use these two products together. What I'm going to do is I'm going to apply a base coat of the Saphir Pate Luxe to really kind of get and sink that into the leather pores. And then I'm going to build up the finish using the Mirror Gloss. And then finally, I'm gonna finish it with the Pate Luxe to really polish and to gloss the hard waxes in the Mirror Gloss polish. So these two products used together is like magic. And whenever it comes to waxes, I really prefer to just use a chamois, my Saphir Médaille d'Or waxes, and a little bit of water. So I'm gonna wrap this around my fingers. And as I stated, I'm going to start with the Pate Luxe wax polish. So I'm just applying this with small circular motions and medium pressure. So again, a wax polish, because of the high concentration of hard waxes, you really want to concentrate this to the hard countered area of the shoes. Now the hard countered areas of the shoes are the areas where an actual stiff piece of leather is placed in between the inner lining and the actual upper, and what that does is it just creates a hard area of the shoe. So it's not like, you know, the side of the vamp where it's really flexible. This area is reinforced with that hard leather so that it doesn't move or change the shape. If you apply hard waxes across the vamp, what you'll end up with is the waxes will actually crack and form a white kind of waxy residue as you walk with the shoe. I've got that first coat applied to the left shoe. I'm going to allow that to dry. With the wax polishes, again, it's really important to allow the waxes to dry before you try to buff them off, because if you buff too quickly and the waxes haven't dried, you're just going to buff those hard waxes right off the shoe. In buffing wax polish off, I like to use, again, my high shine chamois, the same area of the chamois that I used to apply the waxes, and a little bit of water. And what you're doing here is think of it as like, you know, almost wet sanding. You want to use light pressure and a lot of friction to just glaze those waxes to a shine. So a little bit of water, and you just continue to do this until you see, you know, the fogging of the wax disappear and a shine to begin to develop. Now, this is just the first coat. I'm using the Pate Luxe here, just so that I really get that into the pores of the shoe. Again, it is a slightly wetter polish. It has more solvents in it, so it's going to penetrate that leather more than the Mirror Gloss. So since I'm doing this for the first time, I'm going to apply the Pate Luxe just one coat first, and then I'm going to begin really building that foundation with the Mirror Gloss. Now a trick, and I'm not doing it here, is that if you use ice water, you're able to glaze or shine those waxes faster than room temperature water. And the reason is because the cold water just hardens those waxes even faster. So now that I've got the one polish, or the one coat applied there, I'm going to begin to build the foundation of that mirror shine using the Pate Luxe Mirror Gloss. So the Mirror Gloss is very hard wax polish really high concentration of those hard waxes, the Carnauba, the Montagne wax, that is going to allow you to produce that high gloss shine. It's a much drier wax than the Pate de Luxe, and so you really have to develop a little bit of a feel for it. I like to use some water whenever applying it, just to help soften it up a little bit. So because the mirror gloss is such a drier polish, it has less solvents in it, what's nice is that it dries much faster than the Pate de Luxe, so really it dries very quickly. So I'm going to move on to buffing it off. For the mirror gloss finish, the way this is done is you apply a layer of wax polish, you buff it to a shine. So it's kind of an arduous task. I mean, there's no way to speed it up. The mirror gloss certainly helps, but it's got to be done in layers. So what I'm doing is I'm building this finish. So I'm applying more mirror gloss, right? And then while that's drying, I'm gonna take a little bit of Pate de Luxe and water and buff the heel. You know, the mirror gloss really helps this process go much faster because you're just not having to spend as much time waiting for the polish to dry. So you can actually work on just a single section at a time. So the process that I've really developed here with this mirror gloss that I personally enjoy is a little bit of Pate de Luxe on the foundation, apply the harder mirror gloss wax polish on top of that, then take just a little bit of water and just a little bit of the Pate de Luxe mirror gloss. Again, you're just trying to pick up a little bit of the Saphir Pate de Luxe, really just a little bit, because what you're picking up here is just a little bit of the solvents to help soften and shine the harder waxes in the mirror gloss, and just kind of like alternating that, right? So I'm applying a little bit of the Pate de Luxe just to help me buff, a little bit of water, and you're buffing the harder waxes in the mirror gloss to a shine, and then depending on how high you want to go, you just repeat that process again. You're kind of layering those waxes. It's really easy to get lost in a mirror shine. I kind of find myself falling into it, almost magnifying any kind of slight imperfection in the shine, and you can find that you've lost hours, in kind of pursuit of this mirage that is the perfect mirror shine. But this is pretty good. I'm just finishing up here, just with a little bit of water. I'm softening, the pressure that I'm using. I mean, again, I'm just trying to really kind of develop that shine by gently buffing that wax polish, and I'd have to say that that is a pretty good shine we have there. The heel has a nice polish to it also. The toe has, really just an absolutely beautiful mirror shine. And so I'm gonna set this aside and basically repeat the same process with the left shoe. Again, mirror gloss, Pate de Luxe, a little bit of water, buff it to a shine, more mirror gloss, a little bit of Pate de Luxe and water, buff it to the shine. A proper mirror shine on the toes and heels of your dress shoes is quite possibly the most difficult shoe shine to create. It just takes time. But as you can see here, it is absolutely worth the effort. A pair of highly glossed, highly shined black dress shoes is possibly one of the most elegant shoes a man can wear. And as you can see from the before and after of these shoes, they look totally different. The character of these shoes has been completely transformed into what was a beautiful pair of dress shoes to a pair of dress shoes that'll absolutely make an impression. Lastly, I'm going to relace these shoes, but instead of using the original unwaxed cotton dress shoelaces, I'm going to further dress these up with a pair of our sovereign grade round wax shoelaces. These are in the 75 centimeter length, so the ends will be longer than the pair of 70 centimeter shoelaces that Dimitri had used. We have an entire video on the website on how to lace your shoes. Now, whenever I lace my shoes, I'm always using the straight kind of barbell method. It certainly, without question, produces a much more formal, more elegant shoelace. So basically, I'm coming under, up, and across to create that straight across, and then you alternate just going across. So again, you jump across and then you take it up and over and back in, and then you just alternate this throughout the shoe. Now that I have the shoes relaced, I'm going to reinsert my shoe trees so that we can admire the work. And retie them. But here we are, my Dimitri Gomez bespoke shoes with the proper first polishing. You know, it's always fun to polish a pair of shoes for the first time. You get to really appreciate the craftsmanship. These shoes are absolutely beautiful, and I can't wait to put these things on and go out and walk around in them. They're brand new, they're still a little bit stiff, they've got a little bit more breaking in, but otherwise they are absolutely, completely, and perfectly comfortable. If you have any questions about anything we discussed in this video, please ask them in the comment section below. I get back to all questions personally. And of course, if you like this video, give us the thumbs up, or better yet, subscribe to our channel so that you can receive notifications whenever we send new videos. And please take a moment to visit hangerproject.com to view the largest collection of luxury garment care and luxury shoe care accessories in the world, and other products for the well-dressed. I'm Kirby Allison, founder of the Hanger Project, and thanks for joining us.